game's literally perfect. You can hit red jeeps and break physics, but am I a little guy with a big ship? I didn't fucking think so. Who listens to the radio? I mean, I guess you could listen to the radio instructions, but it's not the same.
Far Lone Sails is a game that came out in 2018 and was developed by a team called Akamotive. In Far Lone Sails, you are a small person who hops on a ship and travels the land. You see marshes, seas of sand, prairies, and villages. It's nice, and at first it's extremely calm.
Yeah, but like getting to that point is a whole different question. See, it kind of just says, here you go, here's the spot, here's the car, learn to drive it, figure it out all on your own. There's no tutorial. This section that I'm showing you right now is me learning. This is the tutorial. So I kind of just learned. It's not very complicated, it's just placed right in front of you and it says learn, figure it out. There's only so many buttons you can press in a certain order, and only some of them actually do anything, so go crazy. Oh no, that's literally blowing steam there. Oh, is it the anchor? Yeah, okay, that's the brake. Oh wait, this should start it. Here we go.
Driving the Akamotive is really easy. All you have to do is load up the engine in the back, press the actual go button, and then occasionally release steam when it gets too high. And you may be thinking, then why do you care about this game so much? It seems so boring and simple. What gets interesting is what you can do with those things. See, after a while, the engine button releases itself, but if you look closely, you'll notice that a pin on it begins to rise, and when the pin reaches its top, it falls back down, and that's what causes the engine button to be released. If you press the engine button again as the pin's rising, the pin will fall back down, and then you'll have more time to fuck around and do whatever. And with the steam, once you release it, you'll be able to jolt forward at high speeds. Bringing all these things together means that doing your job feels good. You're moving faster and gaining benefits from simply playing the game at an optimal way. It's relaxing, but still really engaging. Every so often you have to do a puzzle. If it's even really fair to call them that is up for debate. It's mostly just interact with the object that is red and you will progress forward. But you usually get something cool out of it. You know, progression or a wholly new upgrade and machine to play around with. The first upgrade you get is the sails. You know, the ones from the title of the game. Yeah, those ones. And that completely changes everything that I've been talking about. Now, with those weird pockets of extra time you have from micromanaging your stuff correctly, you can now check the wind and see if it's now an opportunity to go put up the sail, or see if it's a good chance to go take down the sail, or you have to take down the sail or it's going to crash into a wall and take a lot of damage. Did I mention that there's damage? Yeah, there's damage. You shouldn't crash into walls. Oh.
Okay. Oh, really? The second I put fuel in, we're gonna stop? Bang! Ah! What?
Now that's enough about the gameplay. I'm skilled. I'm very skilled. We don't need to talk about what just happened. You didn't see it, in fact. It's not real, and it can't hurt you. Now instead, let's talk about the world. General atmosphere of the game, which is, it's so fucking good. It's so good. It's the whole reason I kept playing, dude. Like, the feeling of everything just made me so happy. The feeling of just having the sand sail across the seas and you're just going. When I say you cross through villages and prairies and other lands, it just feels so nice. You're not waiting on anything anymore. You're just going. I don't know. remember the first time I saw an animal, I was ecstatic because I saw other living things when I thought this whole game was a desolate, empty world. I saw grass and I was losing it. There was towns that I drove through and I went, a whole town? Why don't I just live here? But obviously, that's not what the game ends, and you go on a whole mission. I grabbed a radio and listened to music. The general feel of the entire world just feels so nice and lived in. Sad and a little lonely sometimes, but it feels real. I may not know the whole story, but it's all very, very well kept and put together. I enjoyed my time with Far Lone Sails. Far Changing Tides, on the other hand, I was just bored.
Boom. I'm a sailor now. I'm a sailorman. Everything's fine. Okay, I just have to press that every once in a while. I'm gonna hit that, aren't I? Oh, that's pretty bad. Oh wait, let's wait until we actually pass it before. There we go.
It's the next game in the series, but I was really bored. I can't put into words why. I think that objectively, Far Changing Tides is probably the better game with a better story and a better, literally everything. I just was less into it. I don't know if it was just because I played Changing Tides second and Lone Sails first, but I just was like, oh, I just don't vibe with this. I don't know, everything in Changing Tides is relatively the same. It's just it feels less. See, in Changing Tides, the story is very clearly well put together. Like, it makes sense and you can actually follow it. It's not just some invisible thread of, you should go to the right because I said so, and now the game's over. It's, here is a reason to continue moving forward. It very clearly lays out that you're looking for someone. There's a story that is directly put together there. But I just didn't care. I don't know why I didn't care. I just looked at it and was like, oh, okay, that's the person I'm looking for. And I didn't really care, and I have no reason why. So I thought, okay, the story's not really that important. It's more of a vehicle to drive the thing forward. And while the story is there and it matters, it doesn't matter to me very much in this moment. Oh well, that's fine. You win some, you lose some. I hope the world and the music still stand out to me, and the world in this one is way more to look at. There's so many more pretty things to observe and to take in, to let wash over you. The environments in this game are so much more because you're playing with way more levels. You can actually dip beneath the water and view the undersea life and architecture, and that is super interesting. But you also have to get down there, and that's slow and boring. I don't like sinking, and I don't like raising, and I don't like fiddling with it. It just feels like it's slowing the whole experience because you'll get going somewhere, and then you'll be like, okay, I gotta stop, I gotta raise, and I gotta go back down because I overshot it. Okay, now I undershot it, and then you're fiddling with it, and it just feels bleh. And sadly, I can't remember any of the tracks. Like, off the top of my head, there's no track that sticks out in my mind. I mean, I sat and played both of these games practically back to back, and I can't remember any track from Changing Tides, but there are a couple tracks in Lone Sails that stick out in my mind. Specifically, the track I just played, Drive It. That track is played at such a pivotal moment in the game that if you play through the whole game and it doesn't stick with you, you're a psychopath. It's that simple. I will admit that the ending of Changing Tides is a really nice and neat bow. I like it a lot. But it's just like the whole game I just kind of was disconnected. I mentioned how everything fits so neatly together in the first one. In Lone Sails, everything feels so disjointed and kind of useless in the second. You kind of stand in one spot the entire time, and occasionally you hop up, grab a hose, and point. Unless you're fiddling with the up B and the down E and the up B and the down E and the up B and the down E. And in like the last eighth of the game, you get a boost button, which you can only use after you've been standing in the same spot doing the same thing for a while. And it's kind of boring. The sails are a ignored mechanic that you don't really need to ever engage with. You put it up, if there's wind, you stick the thingy in the spot, and then you leave it up. That's it. You don't really, going up there to micromanage it is not worth your time, because it's not really going to give you that much speed unless you're going for the King of the World achievement, which I got on accident because I was bored. So you kind of just ignore it for the most part. I don't know, it feels like such a pivotal mechanic to have sails in the boat game, but they felt so much more important in Lone Sails. Granted, that is the name of the game, so it's a little unfair, but I don't know. Changing Tides just didn't stick with me as hard. I think the puzzles are actually more difficult in Changing Tides, in a good way. They're not like absurdly annoying, but it does require you to think for longer than touch the blue thing. It's touch the blue thing and pull the blue thing to the right spot, so. But you're not here for the puzzles, you're here for the experience. So I suggest playing both of them, and I don't know, if you do end up playing both of them, tell me which one you like more in the comments down below, or at me on Twitter. I think that's way funnier. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Far series, so go check them out. Please. Good night, America.